I'm Charlotte Bradshaw, the CEO and founder of Evrima Technologies, and we're on a mission to help accelerate clinical research by bringing clinical research to GPs and pharmacists. And we do that through our software, which is free to GPs. A lot of people don't know that research is a care option to them. A lot of people think that it's just for someone that might be in a hospital setting, quite unwell, and in actual fact, research can be for anyone like yourself or myself or family members. That's one of the biggest concerns in awareness, but other things are that GPs and pharmacists and other healthcare providers don't get access to trial information at their fingertips. So they're not on the front foot or feel empowered about providing that information to their patients. Diversity in clinical trials is a really hot topic at the moment, and it's because people may not have access to treatments that are really important in their health and their lifestyle management. Now, research can play a part, especially from a GP or a pharmacy perspective, because these are the healthcare professionals in the communities building up trusted relationships with families, with people that may not go to a hospital on a regular basis, if at all. So that trust is so important to build when it comes to what is a clinical trial? Why is it important? Should I participate? What are the risks? What are the benefits? This is where your trusted family doctor or healthcare professional can really be empowered to have that conversation and ultimately build more participation in diverse communities. There are lots of different clinical trials, and we do see a higher participation or a higher response to participating in trials such as chronic lifestyle diseases such as asthma, COPD, gout. We see a lot of information around vaccine research as well, but we might not see people as interested or aware of trials in, say, rare diseases where the patient population is smaller and there are only pockets of specialists in that area. So our goal at Evrima is to really build that awareness right across the board so that anyone can participate so they choose. GPs and pharmacists are really well positioned to provide information about trials as a care option for their patients. The reason being that people trust their healthcare provider. We've got evidence to show that people can hear and learn about trials that are available in their community through various different mechanisms such as marketing, media, but the really important piece here is a trusted healthcare provider like a GP. Now, the really important piece here is that GPs might have various medications or treatment options for their patients, but if those conventional therapies are not, if the patients are not responding to those conventional therapies, a trial might be an option for them. And that's where we're helping bridge that gap to bring that information and make it really easy for GPs and pharmacists to have an empowering conversation with their patients. Pharmacists have a unique position in clinical research because they're seeing their patients more frequently as part of the community, and so they have more access into these general populations, and that makes them on the front foot to be able to offer research as a point of care option. So if we think about people that are coming in to fill a script or just passing by as part of their day-to-day activities, the pharmacist is often the trusted person in that community. So it's really important that they have information that they can provide to their patients around trials, and that's where Evrima really helps enable them with that information at the right time, right place. We're seeing lots of success with pharmacists who are interested, and we've seen positive uptake right across the country in terms of pharmacists learning more, getting onboarded, and actually seeing referrals come through from these local pharmacists. Evrima's platform, EveryPath, is really easy for GPs and for pharmacists to learn about trials in their community that are actively enrolling. And the way that we do that is through our digital software. So we integrate into best practice, which is what GPs predominantly use in Australia. And we also have integrations into the pharmacy space as well. So it's really easy and it's free for GPs and pharmacists to offer these trials as a care option, where they can either recall the patient in for a consult and discuss it, or if they choose, they can provide information via email, text, or however they prefer to run that in their practice. And there is also a referral fee for GPs and pharmacists for every referral as part of their time so that they're not out of pocket offering this to their patients. We recently went to GPCE in Melbourne and GP24 as part of RACGP's annual conference in Perth. And we had a really positive response from GPs who hadn't actually heard about trials, what's involved, and how do they get trials in front of their patients. So things that we were hearing from these GPs were, does it disrupt my clinical workflow? And the answer is no, it doesn't. We've built this in to be part of your workflow and day to day. Not disrupting their clinical workflow is really important to GPs. The other information that we received from them was, how do we get started? Can we get trials onboarded? What does that mean for us next week after the conference? And the great thing here is that because we're integrated into the systems they're already using, it's really straightforward. We found lots of people were quite engaged. And one of the interesting things that we weren't expecting was that GPs typically thought that research was at their own cost or as part of their own downtime. And in fact, we were able to dispel that and raise the awareness that no, actually, this is part of your business. There's a potential new revenue stream for you. You can increase your profile, diversify your practice. There are a lot of benefits to be seen for practices. Pharmacists can refer their patients through to clinical trials that we have actively recruiting right across the country. And as part of that referral process, they do receive a referral fee for their time. So this can actually increase their engagement and bring more people back into their pharmacy that they may not have had access to. It's a differentiator for them between different pharmacies in the community, and it can raise their profile in the clinical research industry as well. We formed a partnership with Strongroom AI and Paratus Clinical Research to enable research opportunities through the pharmacy networks that Strongroom partner with. And what we found through that proof of concept was actually people are interested, both from a pharmacy perspective and a participant perspective. And what we saw as a result were people were engaged and screening and ultimately enrolling in clinical trials that they may not have heard of and unlikely to have heard of before without this opportunity. We're also enabling pharmacists to offer this with a referral fee for their time. And we're really excited to be able to see this and expand this right across the country in the next year or two. I started in the clinical research industry over a decade ago, and I saw how challenging it was to find people that met very specific trial criteria. It was an incredibly manual, stressful process. People don't understand, because they haven't been given the information around the challenges and complexity of a clinical trial. Now, why it's important to me is I am an innovator. I really want to solve problems, and this is really close to my heart because I've seen how many people have had positive experiences by participating in a clinical trial. The issue that we see is that there are so many stakeholders, there are so many pieces of the puzzle that need to be fit together in order to have a successful trial. And the number one challenge that we're solving for is raising that awareness and having more people participate in research to ultimately get that critical data, and then ultimately from there get new treatments on the market that might not be accessible today. So for me, it's been monitoring and seeing the evolution across the industry over the last decade and how we're starting to use more technology and digitize and really help raise that awareness in various different facets. But ultimately, the goal for us is to make sure that research is embedded in clinical practice. GPs can find information about various trials that might be of interest to them in various different therapeutic areas. The main area that we're focused on for GPs are chronic lifestyle diseases. So we're thinking about pain, asthma, respiratory conditions like COPD, women's health. There are vaccine studies coming through. There's quite a plethora of research being done right across the country that's of interest to people that are regularly visiting their primary healthcare provider. Now, if GPs and pharmacists want to learn more, they can absolutely head to evrima.com to see all of the actively recruiting studies, again, right across the country, and find out what's in their local area. We are actually recruiting studies in both metro and regional areas throughout the country, which I think is really important for GPs and pharmacists to be aware of.